You please the option for the next one. Remember, once again, this is for when this man but he said the thing or two about the NII established because it is federal government policy in 1971. The concept of the advisory of Nigeria's federal government of Nigeria on its role in global affairs. We will all recall that at the dawn of the whole of Africa, it is the world, look towards the federal state of Nigeria, united, the most popular nation outside the to provide the Federal Republic of Nigeria, irrespective of our ups and downs, have proven itself very worthy of true over the years. We do not deny, but we proudly in our chest say it in Africa, the Federal Republic of Nigeria has lived up to its position as Africa's leader. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in this role of the NII, in this role of the Federal Republic of Nigeria global affairs, the NII has been the cornerstone in the formulation of all those ethnic policies initiatives that each and every one of us will come to remember Nigeria. Do you want to talk about that? What about the production of what about the quest that the global south was act on its own in a form that in the constitution? I can go on and on and on. When you come down to the region in West Africa, we are the hub of the West Africa. There will be no ECOWAS today. There will be federal integration. Today, distinguished citizens to your extent, my task is not to do the relations one over. I always say this is to portray the fact that this institute stands at the epicenter of the Nigerian politics. Ladies and gentlemen, we have scored many in this very chamber that you have today. Many historic moments have been experienced and met to the credit of God Almighty and to the praise. ECOWAS was called the love of our to praise to the use of it. It is not surprising that for when we under the director of this Professor Adewole Adebayo, we felt distinguished that charity must begin at home. In this institute, your excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we say it the way it is. We speak it out. You cannot talk about Nigeria Nigeria's role in international affairs and in addressing the world we get confident that this platform is the proper place to be. It is in that time that we trust the government of our own. Instead, there will be a bit of deviation from the norm so that I see this excellency that I will so introduce to you is going to be addressing us on the word of Africa and Nigeria. I began my own expensive telling you about our word as a voice. Your Excellency distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am very confident that you will hear more about this from the presidential candidate of one of our leading political parties. It is our heart that we have such a distinguished audience here to listen to this presidential, to also query his proposition, to define it and to challenge it as it is about Nigeria. Your Excellency presidential candidate, I say this in order to prepare you for the kind of state it is. But we have no doubt that we will be up. Because we aspire for the number one position of the federal government, and we are easy to use the language of one life. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I, with your kind permission and part of my electoral, recognize the here before we invite the presidential candidate, but for and even before him to go through with some of the items on the agenda. Since I began by saying that it is go, we are begin by introducing our host, the Director General of this into this no introduction. But it's my task to do it. The Director General of the NIA, Professor Igoka. Professor is trying to all over the many other people do. So I have to the acting director of the Besides videos, here present, you have the information moves the other side of the right. The entourage of this expression brings anybody the man it is the company that is the vice presidential candidate. We have a team Mr. G. Mr. Adewole Adebayo. We also have on the also have on the other hand is Adewole Adebayo. Mr. Carol get of course. We did not these are the flag bearers of the party at this time. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I think I deserve a round of applause for myself. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as you would have observed, I have a very long list of dignitaries here. But with the kind permission of the Director General, I want to be taking this recognition bit by bit, so as not to steal all the quality time we have for this program. Those who will make this session particularly interesting will be the panel. But because they will be firing the shots, I will hold back their names a little bit wider, a little bit more direct right. And we also recognize in the short while members of the House of Representatives and the State Assembly. However, I'd like to take another category quickly before we proceed. Her Royal Highness Adewole Adebayo, we recognize. His Excellency Ambassador Olusegun Adesoya, the Chairman of the Lagos Branch Association of the Retired Career Ambassadors. Mrs. Joyce Ayola Yakubu, Chief Executive Officer of the club. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Major General O.C. ADJUNCT, General Officer Commanding, 81 Division. We are expecting him. Former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs and Director of Monetary Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, Professor Bola Iterewa. I will be taking the subsequent recognitions as we go. At this point, distinguished I like to recognize the presence of someone that I couldn't sit on this podium doesn't need much. One of Nigeria's finest sportsmen. He has brought glory, fame. He has brought terror to our opponents on the sport. I always like to add that terror part. I always love that. Yeah. We have here distinguished ladies and gentlemen amongst us. His Excellency Ambassador Adewole Adebayo. Head of the sports diplomacy desk of the district. Your Excellency, I want to your country owes you a debt of trust. Well done, sir. We have His Royal Highness. Now, this handwriting is challenging. Adewole Adebayo, am I right?
Just pronounce it.
Okay, I won't throw the writer under the court. I will take the rest. His Royal Highness Olofin Adewole Adebayo. Your Royal Highness, forgive me. I hope you will understand how this thing goes. Please, a round of applause for our Royal Highness. You are most welcome. Long may you live on the throne of your ancestors. That you are committed to issues of your country, you will be honored by your country and those after you. Your Royal Highness. Welcome, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if I tarry any further on this introductory section, I will be making great disservice to this program. So I crave your indulgence to put a pause to the introduction of our special guests and other dignitaries here present so we can proceed with the program. Please be assured that each and every one of our distinguished guests here will be recognized as the program proceeds. At this point, may I call respectfully, sir, the Director General of this institute for his opening remarks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chief. Your Excellency, the Presidential Candidate of the Social Democratic Party, we'd like to welcome you to the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Professor Adewole Adebayo, we welcome you to the Institute. The members of the Presidential Entourage to this meeting, we welcome everyone. I also like to especially welcome our panelists today, who introduce you a little later. Welcome. To every one of us here, I think this is a great moment that will help to define the kinds of engagement and discussions that are necessary for our presidential election. Many people say charity begins at home, but some build from the top without foundation, and that can be problematic. So we are happy that finally we can build up from the foundation. Now, somebody asked me the other day, do you feel slighted that people are going to Chatham House? They're not in the least. We can never feel slighted. The NI is very proud of its origins, and that origin would not be complete without Chatham House. What you have here is similar to what you will find in the Indian Council of World Affairs. These two global South leading think tanks were midwifed by Chatham House. And therefore, whatever takes place in Chatham House has a branch here. So we complement each other. It is just that in this complementing, the right steps have not been taken. That's all that can be said. We don't feel slighted at all. Instead, we feel that we reinforce each other. That's what we are doing here today. The second thing is that we must not forget that Nigeria is a big country. And because we're a very big country and the world is in search of big countries that can provide anchors for a very turbulent world that we live in today, everyone is interested very keenly in what happens in Nigeria. And there is no denying that fact. As the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, we recognize this, we acknowledge it. And for this reason, we have reached out to institutions that are like-minded in South Africa and across Africa. And we had engaged our presidential candidates, we have written to them since last year, to say we want to have a two-step interaction. That because Nigeria is the focus, we would have one leg of our presidential engagement in Lagos at the NI. The second leg would be in Addis Ababa, which is, as many of you know, headquarters of the AU and therefore of Africa. Because when we have presidential elections in Nigeria, the rest of Africa is interested, is involved, and we should tell the world how we're going to lead from the front. So we wrote these things, this invitation, together with our strategic partners, the Institute of Strategic Studies in South Africa. But we're happy today that we have the very first of the platforms, and we hope that the other presidential candidates will follow suit. The point about our country that nobody can deny is that what happens in Nigeria is of strategic importance to everybody else. And if they decide, that we should come to them outside Nigeria, so be it. It only shows that there is a trajectory that we have evolved along the path of in the last couple of months that should worry us. Here at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, we know that right now there is the Davos conference that is going on. We recognize also that many times discussions about Africa are now held outside of Africa. So we have summits to which Africans are invited. Some are disqualified from attending even African conferences. And the voice diminishes every day. As an institute, we are determined to bring Africa back to Africa. And we have decided that beginning this year, we must redirect the world's attention from those capitals that they now appear to really celebrate. In Paris, in London, in Geneva, in the United States, in New York, and Washington, and so on. We should bring them back. We should redirect everyone. So I'm sure that, by the time we have a new president in our country, we would have gone round full circle to ensure that if Chatham House is going to feature at all, it will feature through the NI. NI will not feature through Chatham House. If the African Economic Summit is going to be meaningful, it would happen here, not in Paris. And I also said to a seasoned journalist last week, now think of it. When we go abroad to these summits, just take a look at all those who are attending. There are people who have come with from home. So it's almost all the time Nigerians convening outside to speak to one another. Now I think we can save a lot, if we talk to ourselves here. Now, the essence of the series that we'll be having with presidential candidates is to say that because of Nigeria's status and role, the world is waiting to hear what our presidential candidates want to do with Nigeria. How much understanding of the dynamics do they have? The world is changing, it's becoming more turbulent. If you were listening very carefully, because the conference said Ambassador Adewole Adebayo terrorized people. Some people here would think that Adewole Adebayo is a terrorist. No, he's not a terrorist at all. He's a football terrorist. But if this was said, another time in the past, we would not think the way we are thinking. It just tells you that, even the concepts that we use get reinvented, and the reproductions of these things create new realities and new narratives. So what do our presidential candidates have to offer? What do they say, for instance, about the world in which we live today that remains so inequitable, so unequal, where the exchanges are not even? The world in which we've been consigned to the margins of hewers of wood and drawers of water. What Kwame Nkrumah said a long time ago. A world in which we are driven into the waves of free trade only to the extent that we can continue to supply raw materials. And where free trade means You don't exceed your boundaries. You don't even think of manufacturing. You don't add value to whatever you produce. Now we count our benefits only in terms of the foreign direct investments that we get, but we don't talk about our productivity. Now, today, thanks to great minds like Ambassador Adewole Adebayo, we have new vistas of diplomacy, sports, culture, music. These things have come fully on board. Do our presidential candidates know this? Do they know that sports is now big business and can spend money? Are they bought into the idea of Nigeria and West Africa hosting the world in a few years' time? And so on and so on and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are very delighted that the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, that you have come to our very first platform. And hopefully, when other platforms come, we are sure that you will be here. My final point will be on the mode of this platform. There were people who asked us to create a debate forum, where candidates will come and say, look, I support America, you support China, you support Taiwan, and so on. Or some other person will come to say, we'll manufacture guns, or we'll turn your guns into powder, and so on. But we thought, no, we should have standalone sessions. Each presidential candidate would have the platform so that we can have a robust engagement. And all the presidential candidates living here will know that they now have the foundation for engaging the world. This is the meaning of what NIA does in terms of formulating protocols. We must let our people know what the stakes are, what the national interest will be, and how to negotiate and bargain with the rest of the world in ways that will be of utmost benefit to our country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, it's our pleasure to have you here today, and we hope that you continue to support the NIs in this channel. The final thing, I hope you all have your PVCs. I hope that you're all going to make your votes count. I hope that on the 25th of February, you go out there and vote. We are not asking you to vote for a particular candidate. We're simply saying, please use your franchise. It's a power that you have. So that when we reap the benefits of the huge harvest that will come from our elections, you will say, I was part of it. You're already part of it now. That's why you're here. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies here present, you would have observed that the next item on the agenda is the presentation by the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party. I have to give a citation on His Excellency the presidential candidate. I'd like to inform His Excellency before I do that, sir, after your presentation, you have a 3-man team that can very easily be categorized as a firing squad. And if they run out of ammunition, there are so many people in this room that have like some spare bullets to throw at you. We'll find those listed under number 6 of the program. I'd like to introduce them before you make your presentation. Professor Femi Otunbayo, please be recognized. Please, Amarachi Kubani, please be recognized. And Mr. Suleiman Aledel. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, they are our 3-man panel. I always feel uncomfortable using that phrase. So let me say, panel of a lady and 2 gentlemen. Thank you very much. I have the singular honor to present the citation on Prince Adewole Adebayo. the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party of Nigeria. Prince Adebayo, the presidential candidate under the SDP, cannot be missed in a crowd. Thank you for your humility, Your Excellency, for standing up. We appreciate you, sir. The immensity of his numerous aptitudes and equivalence as a person stands him out at every gathering. One can hardly meet a more confident, a more eloquent person who cherishes life, especially the life of the mind. He invests in its cultivation continually. And today, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have one of Nigeria's finest brains. Lucid in logic and very entertaining and humorous in his engagement with everyone that comes to him. He still ranks among the most educated and equal Nigerians in this field. And he has certainly proven his mantle in public service. He is an established and well-recognized philanthropist. His gesture of kindness and empathy, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, goes across not just Nigeria, but far beyond our shores in Africa and the other continents. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Prince Adebayo was called to the bar in the year 2000 after completing and passing his bar exam from the Nigerian Law School. In 2002, shortly afterwards, he returned to Lagos following his NYSC in Kogi State. He joined the Tunji Abayomi law firm, where he quickly rose through the ranks. He holds a Master of Law of the University of Lagos. He has participated extensively in the activities of the Nigerian Labour Congress as a comrade, and he has made friends across Nigeria who admire him for his strength of character, his integrity and zeal, and most importantly, his friendship with the working class. He was to later leave the firm of Tunji Abayomi for Abuja, where he established his own personal firm, Adewole Adebayo and House of Law. As the principal solicitor of that firm, he came to prominence as a leader in his professional field, while also investing particularly in young people. Prince Adebayo is well known by a particular crop of young people, those who are undertaking the National Youth Service Corps. He has employed many of them, very many of them. He has empowered so many others. He has facilitated their efforts at taking their stance in society. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this fine son of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that stands before you today has contributed immensely to the growth of the law profession from a different angle, particularly that of establishing young lawyers. The sheer breadth of Adebayo's knowledge, Prince Adebayo's knowledge, his breadth of mind, the clarity of his analysis, and his competence soon brought him to the national limelight. This young prince, ladies and gentlemen, has overcome many hurdles on his way to the top. There's a long list has overcome many hurdles on his way to the top. As you can see, there's a long list has overcome many hurdles on his way to the top. As you can see, there's a long list has overcome many hurdles on his way to the top. As you can see, there's a long list has overcome many hurdles on his way to the top. As you can see, there's a long list has overcome many hurdles on his way to the top.
Digital, you know, one of the things people don't do to me is call me to the side. I'm going to tell everybody what you have. Did you say whether I have consulted the spirit of my ancestors? To put on record that particular remark I made about the next. But distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the truth is that certain characters and certain elements of personality need to be engraved in the sand of time. Maybe it's fate that is labeling that part of the attributes of His Excellency. But now that we have it on record, I think with your kind permission, I can digital. Thank you, sir. I am going to read this so many pages of the citation on His Excellency Prince Adebayo. I will pick and choose, Your Excellency, and I hope it will do no injustice to this very long profile. You are the chairman of Blueprint Global Group, Washington, D.C., board advisor of U.S. Black Chambers of Commerce, board advisor, National Black Chambers of Commerce, USA. You are also president and board chairman of several organizations in the United States, in Nigeria, and in East Africa. I expect a round of applause. And because I am a middleman, this part of His Excellency is close to my house. He is a farmer. Benue State is a food basket of the nation. So, Your Excellency, I relate with you on this particular program. His Excellency is a farmer. But here is a catch. This is a farmer with a difference. He is the chairman of Sai Phytochemicals. They are the producers of saline drugs for treatment of sickle cell anemia in India and Nigeria. This is a very unique and innovative approach, not just to production and food security, but the cross between that and our health sector. As the chairman of African Dialogue Mission, Your Excellency was in 2006 appointed by the United Nations Organization and ECOWAS as Commissioner of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Liberia. His Excellency is a grassroots person. That much our DG has acknowledged in his presentation. A passionate son of the soil, he decided in 2016 to relocate his business to his hometown of Ondo State in order to contribute to the development and growth of the town and the state as a whole. A round of applause. For those who shuttled Abuja and the other capitals, they know how difficult it is to substitute the other capitals for your village or your town. So Your Excellency, we commend you for the nexus that you are trying to create, and indeed has succeeded in creating between the urban centers and our rural areas. In December 2016, Prince Adebayo held a one-week retreat at his country home in Ondo Kingdom. It was at this retreat that the objective and mission statement of Captain TV was. Captain TV is headquartered in Ondo with additional offices in Lagos, Abuja, and Washington, D.C. in America. Captain TV broadcasts on Star Times, Ben TV, and Lancer. Your Excellency, it will please you to know that we have had Captain TV because you are on very many of our programs. So much is being said here about Captain TV, but since they have not paid me for any advert, I'm going to cut it out. Captain TV, you can see me later for further, you know that. Thank you very much. Nevertheless, we appreciate you for all the great work that you do, and for also bringing all the very important issues that are trashed here in the NII to the knowledge of the wider Nigerian and African communities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I must bring this very, very long citation to close at this point. Not only to avoid wasting any more time, but so that His Excellency can also get to the business that he has been asked to come and do. Let me just conclude by saying that he is a recipient of many awards in the recognition of his service to state, community, and to humanity. In 2021, he was recognized by the Ondo State government as the individual who paid the highest personal income tax to Ondo State. In the year 2021, November this time, he was bestowed with the award of the Best Media Reporter of the Year by the Nigerian Union of Journalists. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with privilege and honor that I present to you His Excellency, one of Nigeria's presidential aspirants, candidates, I beg your pardon, one of Nigeria's presidential candidates, Prince Adewole Adebayo. Your Excellency.
Excellencies, Director General of the Nigerian Institute of National Affairs, other dignitaries here are too many to mention and explore. Fellow Nigerians, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. And it's a great achievement to be here, both for me and my party, the Social Democratic Party, and for my generation and my country. I know I'm here as a presidential candidate, but there are a lot of growing up, there's a lot of growing up. Okay. There's a lot of growing up to do to become a presidential candidate. And one of the growing up that I did was that I used to believe, with all the logic in my brain, that Sheikh Adewole was a mathematician. Because my uncle used to say mathematical whatever. So I assumed that he was a mathematician. So, but it became clear that if I wanted to do well in mathematics, maybe I should look towards other sources. And I was looking at it, and Professor Chike Obi became another source for my mathematics. But when I got to Ife, and I became the football coach for the school, for the students, and I realized I wasn't too wrong, because there's a lot of geospatial management you have to do to be able to hold your side of the field and make incursions to the other side, and be a terrorist and say you should be. So I'm grateful to see the person of history being here. I'm grateful to see everyone here. And we stand on the shoulder of giants here. And I must pay tribute to the Institute, to the originators of the idea. I remember Dr. Lawrence Akwala-Arafabumi, who, as a young Nigerian, attending the Royal Institute of National Affairs as a student, and on completing his course in the UK, thought I should not just go to Nigeria and talk about it. I should come to Nigeria and have it and make inquiries how that could be done. And I must thank, for many reasons beyond this, but particularly today for this, late Professor Kenneth Ukadike, who also put so much effort in convincing not only Sir Adewole Adebayo, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, through other leaders of the country, to reach the Prime Minister to say we should establish this. And I must thank the late Justice Louis Badeko and many other leaders, including Hashim Imam, and so many other leaders that history has recorded as achieving many great things. But in 1961, even 1960, just as we were discussing independence, we were already concerned about our place in the world, that I would have a rational, logical, systematic, and scientific approach to diplomacy. And they said this institute was established. So as early as September 1960, even before the Union Jack was lowered, the embryo of this institute was already. And I'm very happy that we're able to come here today. And that is why I can interrogate a bit the concern of Nigerians as to why leaders of today would think that they need to look outside before they could speak for not only foreign policy of Nigeria, but domestic policy of Nigeria and the platform manifesto by which they want the mandate of this country invested in them. And since my interview with Arise TV, talking about why I prefer the NIA, I've had some murmurs from London as to whether I thought that they were wrong to offer some generous approach to me to speak at the Chatham House. It is true that we started talking a few months ago. I have a lot of respect for the Chatham House, but I have more respect for the NIA. So I have not rejected the offer of the NIA of the Chatham House. I've only said that I'm an Ondo prince. They say in our place that they are who at Sumaloka. That is to say, you look inward in naming your child. Don't look out. And we all say, I think it was in English, I thought of that charity begins at home. Our charity should begin right here. So our friends and allies who want to listen to us, who would come and talk to you, but the focal and the podium and the forum we want to use is here. But we also have interaction with you in due course. Now, today, we are here to look at the world of Nigeria and Nigeria in the world. And I'm looking at it from the point of view that I believe, whether you're a monist or a dualist, whatever you call yourself, whether you're a pragmatist, that foreign policy must be linked with domestic priorities. And when two values are linked, one must predominate, whether you allow it or not. And I believe that your domestic priorities should be the principal consideration, and your diplomacy should be an adjunct to it. So you must wake up in the morning, go into the global stage, asking yourself, who am I? What is my place in the world? What are the challenges I'm facing? What are the challenges I'm facing with other people in common? What are the challenges I'm facing with particularity to me? And how do I use friendships in the world to make life better for me and my people? And that is what every empire before us has done. That is what the Great did. Not the history of Macedonia. Alexander the Great was not going riding horses all over the world because he liked to see the world. He was going around the world because Macedonia was an island and they could not produce much. And he needed to get the wealth of the world. Same thing with the Romans. Romans did not come to London. They did not go to the rest of the world because Romans liked to ride horses. No, because Romans knew that they had very little and they needed more. I also know that the British did not go to India just for curiosity. I think a little taste of what was on offer in Asia, in Africa, and seeing their sister country, Spain, making so much growth in their GDP just by having those estates in the New World, made the British to say, we need a navy. We need a strong navy. We need a country. So there's nothing new what we are saying here. And as I'm talking to you, diplomacy is also not new in Africa. We did not start diplomacy when British gave us independence. Even our own traditional cities and traditional states engage in diplomacy. They use diplomacy to trade, They use diplomacy to share common things like river, like farmland, like hunting ground. They also use diplomacy to settle rifts and wars. As I'm standing before you here, if you do a DNA test, you will see that I have an element of Nupe blood in me. I have an element of Oyo blood in me. I have an element of Benin blood in me, and other additions. Why? Because after many years of war, see the Nupes and the Oyos fighting across the River Kora. Then so a very wise statesman, the son of Nupe, thought to himself, these Oyo people are getting stronger every day. Spend most of our time fighting war. Maybe I should make a rapprochement with them. And the daughter of Sweden was married to the Lagos. And Shago was born. And Shago is one of the princes of Oyo. But he was given to Sweden to live with Sweden. So in those years, there was no person who would ever go from Oyo to go and attack Lupeland because they had become one family. And I am the product, the descendant of that bloodline. So diplomacy has always been with us. And when you look at the relationship between the Shakiris and the Portuguese when they came, that's why Don Domingo went to Portugal and became one of the greatest scholars and came back and become the Ugo of the Shakiri. Up to today, the Shakiris always regard the Portuguese as their friend and as their cousins. You can say the same thing about the Benin Empire. Benin Kingdom, even well beyond, had an embassy in Lisbon, and the Portuguese had an embassy in Benin. So what we are saying in essence is that diplomacy is not alien to us, and you don't need to look at Western diplomacy before you realize that diplomacy is part of our culture. Now, of course, the British came and we became part of Her Majesty's realm. And for those years between 1900 and 1960, we were just an asset, an overseas asset of Britain. And wherever Britain went, there we had to go. The dog was in London, and the tail was in Lagos. And the dog will always want the tail every time. But I will say also that for those who have studied the scholarship of it, the relationship also started with diplomacy. I've read many correspondence and messages between my own great-great-grandfather as ruler of Ondo and John Glover, who was then the consul in Lagos. And when you read through those correspondences, you will know that the British understood that Yoruba people, these particularly Ondo people, were great diplomats because we knew how to read the lines and how to read the lines. So what will we do today? In 1960, we got our independence. And because of the work of the pioneers of that time, including the founding council of the Nigerian Institute of International, we were clear in the world. That was why Balewa was called the golden voice of Africa. He had clarity when he wanted to say. He understood the world stage and he projected our mission and purpose of the world stage in a manner that left nobody in ambiguity as to whether we know our place in the world. And what was it? The first thing we said in the world was that we would be non-aligned. And up to now, many years, many decades thereafter, scholars are still struggling to understand what we meant by non-aligned. All the members of the had a different interpretation. The interpretation we had in Lagos, which is also fashioned by the NIA, that our non-aligned meant our right to decide whether to align or not. And that was why, when our Prime Minister Balewa gave his speech in United Nations, he said, those who say non-aligned means that they will not be on anybody's side are already committed. So by implication, we told the world we would carry the logo of decision making. We're not taking position. No, non-aligned doesn't mean we're taking position. We are taking the logo of our alignment from London and we are bringing it to Lagos. When it suits us, we align this way. When it doesn't suit us, we align the other way. That was the clarity that we got to work. And I will also thank the Director General for opening this session with a discussion as to one, how we export ourselves and what in law we call shopping. When you have a problem that is solved with the body, and you decide to go to Antwerp, go and hold a conference, thinking maybe if a little drop of snow falls around the conference area, maybe you have better imagination what to do. But you will notice that there are three ways to approach this issue. One of the most fundamental and monumental conferences ever held on Africa was held in Berlin 1884 and 1885. There was no African president, but the entire territory of Africa, our peoples, our history, our treasures were divided among hostile powers who took it by force in the name of gunboat diplomacy. We have never been happy with that. So it's a rich irony if we now are now sponsoring a modern day version of Berlin Conference over ourselves in foreign territories. So it is not just a mere attempt to be too radical. It is to be responsible in the management of our affairs. Another thing, and I want us to make a decision about the one, you can engage, but the subject of engagement must be international. Because there is a strong foundation in the United Nations Charter that member countries will refrain from intervening in the internal affairs of other members. Until, of course, you by yourself carry your internal affairs and take it to them. But we must respect that if we want people to respect it on behalf. So then we went with non-aligned movement, because many of you here who are much older than us realize the attitude with the Anglo-Nigerian Party. Because the argument was that the Anglo-Nigerian Party might have military benefits or other benefits, did not conduce to the spirit of non-alignment. Why? Because the status of forces component of it would take away our sovereign discretion as to when to be on the side of Britain and when not to be on the side of Britain if international conflict arose. So what we now have a situation where we lost that republic for many reasons, which are not for today. But when we got the military regime that we were having, we also had issues of the day that we had to confront. And how did we add clarity to those issues? Because we have our non-aligned movement, non-aligned philosophy, which we're implementing. However, the world theater has become well exposed to us. We have done peacekeeping in the Congo, done so many other things. We are dealing with South Africa, we are dealing with what do we do with our brothers and sisters who were under colonial rule? What do we do about so many other challenges facing us? And through diplomatic soldiering, and the scholarship provided by this institute, how we have Nigerians to understand that this is so important to the national interest of Nigeria, to the sovereignty of Nigeria, to the prosperity of Nigeria, to the safety and security of Nigeria. Because that we started to rethink. We cannot just say non-aligned now. What do? We have to be more communication, more effective. Okay. Then we came up with the idea where Ibrahim Gambari came up with this idea that we should have concentricity. That we cannot just go around in the world working hard. We must have concentricity. The same way, Adewole will not just to the field. We want to say who's going to be the goalkeeper, who's going to be the midfielder, who's going to be the defender, who's going to be the winger, who's going to be the people. He wants to plan because he doesn't want to lose opportunity. He doesn't want to be caught flat. So we came up with the idea we must have 4 concentric circles. The innermost circle is that we must concentrate on things that have to do with Nigeria and our immediate neighbors. That is to say, if there is war in Ukraine, heavy war in Ukraine, there is a riot in the Republic. It may make more sense for you to listen more to the riot in the Republic because just by your side, than to worry about the war in Ukraine. It might take a while to come. The second of the circle is West Africa. And so we must pay attention to West Africa. There are historical, other reasons, geo-strategic reasons why we must pay attention to West Africa. So that's why it's not a surprise that we are reminded that it was in this chamber, very chamber here, that our own Yakubu Gawan and Togo from Togo started the journey that became ECOWAS, Economic Community of West Africa, in 1975. So that second circle we pay attention to. And the third circle, the rest of Africa. So when you have taken care of the first two circles, then you deal with the rest of Africa. And the last part is that the rest of the world, because we're a member of the international community, we're part of the human race. But as we're doing it, that geographical approach to it was interpreted by Adewole, who said, but why? Just because something is close to your side, it's happening in the Nigeria Republic, does it mean that if you have bigger interest in Vienna, Austria, where you are discussing OPEC, which can affect your income, you should say that you want to pay attention to what's happening in Cameroon? So he came up with the idea that yes, Cameroon is right. We must keep these 4 Pacific circles. However, we must make them beneficial and constructive. So not only must you play around this circle at a priority, you must ask, what is the objective to be achieved in each of these circles? So that is how we coasted around and we came to the conclusion that we must take certain steps, which included the point where we even brought Southern Africa from the third circle, we brought it into the first circle, and that became the frontline state in order to deal with it. So we've done all of that. Then we had Chagari, who was trying to do a defensive economic management, because it came at a time when we had problems. We didn't have that period when Gawan said money was no problem, how to spend it. We came to a point where we're doing austerity at home. And what do we do? And at that time, people said, well, one of the reasons they blame us for many things we don't have time for. Maybe why did we do first time 77? Why did we rescue Zimbabwe with so much money? Why are we throwing money all over the world? And now we should go home and face our business. And many people started thinking about it. You will see that later in 1984, someone came and threw all our brothers, 3 million of them, and said, get out here. Okay? But that discussion made Bolaji Akiyemi to come to this. Wait, now you don't have as much money as we, but none of these priorities can you leave. So you must find very clever ways by which you do this. And he came up with a number of ideas. And one of it was that we must have what they call concert of medium powers, CMP. And so what you used to do alone, maybe if you talk to medium powers, talk to Turkey, talk to China, when China was medium at that time, now they have become big. Talk to a few of them. Then you can come together and take a common position. That way, you will be able to become strong. And also came with another idea, to have a platform. If all things, and we don't have money to diplomacy, maybe we should develop a nuclear weapon. At least they don't love us, they will respect us. So nobody is going to come here and say, don't do that, because they know you have a bomb. There's mutually assured destruction. So they will put you in the room. Nobody is going to listen to you unless you have ability to cause commotion in the international community. Many countries, India, Iran, others do that. So we have been struggling with that. Now came 1984, second round of military, 1985. Now we are now dealing with how do we handle, you must remember, Ikewatiku and his economic diplomacy, which scholars say is a sign of what we call diplomacy. Because let us do economic diplomacy. But it was a needy time. So that was the time where see whether we should sign what Shagari had agreed with the IMF for a loan, $2.5 billion at that time. Now, I think a local merchant man can take that loan now without talking to anyone. But in those days, we were more responsible. We were thinking of the now, economic diplomacy. Then we have started getting more engaged with the Bretton Woods institutions. So, even a secondary school student knew what World Bank meant, IMF meant, and all of that. And then because we didn't manage our democratization correctly, we now started having people coming here in the name of democratization, human rights, and there are so many other obligations under multilateral agreements. We signed water for all by the year 2000, education for all by the year 2000, housing habitat for all by the year 2000, and so many other obligations, which are developmental obligations that we signed, but which we cannot fund. Therefore, we started being sensitive to funding in Europe, funding North America, and now funding in South Asia, and other places. So now, if it pleases Nigeria to elect me as president, what word am I missing? Because Malewa has done his own, everyone has done his own. Buhari is doing his own right now. What word will I miss on May 29, 2003? Now, there are certain obligations. Scholars who know how to define it, they are called it default diplomacy or diplomatic heritage. I cannot become Nigeria president today, and I say, well, I'm not too happy about the map of Nigeria. I think Cameroon should be part of us, and Benin Republic should be part of us. I cannot do that. I'm not allowed to do that. It's not part of our diplomatic tradition to do that. I cannot say, well, I don't like the Commonwealth of Nations. I need to quit. No, I cannot do that. I cannot say, well, United Nations, you don't make me a permanent member of the Security Council, I quit. I cannot do that. So even military, when they do their fellow countrymen coup, you always say, we will continue to respect and abide by all international, keeping life to be said that in international law, pacta sunt servanda. Just doesn't, it's not that as fancy as it sounds. Just basically means agreements must be respected. So I will say on behalf of the Democratic Party, on behalf of my future presidency, on behalf of Nigerians, when the SDP forms the government, we will abide by all agreements signed and executed. But because Nigeria is a dualist country, I don't follow. When you sign agreements on behalf of Nigeria, it must come for the National Assembly before it becomes effective in Nigeria. That's some exceptions there and that's agreement, not just of that. But what I'm saying generally is, I said to myself, when I come to NIA, I will put the academics and the experts at rest. That I'll be following your work and I know how to speak your language. Now, I will speak for myself. In diplomacy, because of our history as a very plural society, because of our nature as a country arising from very hospitable people, because of our long of being responsible neighbors, we will be a friend of everyone in the international community, without exception. We would be your friend to the extent that you do not antagonize or compromise Nigerian national interests. What has happened in the past, we assured the international community that we will continue to be a friendly nation. However, we will understand that we have a world in which we live. What is the world of Nigeria? The world of Nigeria is that by manifest destiny, we are the largest black population in the world. Whether we hide under our table, we cover our faces, we must still know other things. Because we are also a regional power by the gift of God and by sound record, what we have done in leading and contributing to regional safety, regional security, and development. We are the natural leader of West Africa. And we are number one country in what is called sub-Saharan Africa. So in summary, we are the leader of the black people. And even statistically, if you are black and you're not a Nigerian, that's an exception to the rule. The expectation is that if you are black, you are likely to be a Nigerian. So for that reason, anything that affects black people in the world should not be surprised when we speak about it and when we take unapologetic position about it. Second, our demography brings some responsibility to us. We must have a population that is productive and contributing, a population that the world wants to meet. We must be a country that when we go to any mission on consulate, and they say Nigeria wants to go to a country, that person should feel like, oh yes, we must go there to make contribution. I've read many judgments in English courts where in the 60s, a few Nigerians will be caught in some misdemeanor or felony. There was a particular one where a Nigerian was charged with manslaughter. And the judge took time to say, in passing the sentence, that this man is a Nigerian truly. The Nigerians I know are very responsible people. As devoted academics, and they love life and enjoy it. He went because he was surprised that this man happened to be a Nigerian who went to London and stabbed him. So that is Nigeria that will project to the world. I, as president, will be your chief diplomat, but every Nigerian has diplomatic skills. What you do outside Nigeria, how you are viewed outside Nigeria, is as important as how the High Commissioner is seen or the ambassador. So Nigerians must understand that this diplomacy that we want to do is citizen diplomacy. That is what the Social Democratic Party is bringing to the world. And that is why I took my time to pay attention to Sheikh Adebayo, because in him is the belly of Nigeria. When generations like that become our cultural ambassadors, when people remember Brazil in Nigeria, they remember them for the football. They don't remember them for the tobacco or oil or other things. They remember them from that. And the only time my wife argued with me and questioned my common sense was when I said Brazil is not really that great in football. So what they do, their diplomacy or cultural diplomacy, even affects my happiness in my house. So what does it mean? It means that, one, we must have our domestic priorities well laid out. And that's why you don't go to second house anyway and say that your people are corrupt, people are poor, your roads are not good, you can't pay your debts. That's not how to pay people. Make those discussions at home. You go outside, find a way to address it. Secondly, we owe ourselves a duty to set up a proper government. Because our diplomacy, our foreign affairs department, ministry, we used to call it external affairs, now foreign affairs, is part of our government. And look at the life of this institute. Originally, when this institute was conceived, it was not part of the government. It was to be an independent institute under government council. And the government will give grant and support, and any other Nigerian or friend of Nigeria will give. But military, I suspect because of the civil war politics, decided that they must take control, not only of the government council, but of the work of the council, everything, including the management of it. But the first thing I will do as president of Nigeria is to take this institute out of government and make it self-government. So criticize the government and advise us the way we do. Balewa was not in control of anything here, that he would not people write his speech without coming here to say, does it make sense? That's what we're going back to. And I will say in addition that we must also
develop our leadership further. If you look at this, it was almost a given that if you were the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, you are in the basket to become Minister of Foreign Affairs. Now, you have to compete with the shift of the political party. So we have to go back to that era where we understood that the finest of the finest would be the people to represent us internationally. The charity of that was the big. So in other words, before I go out to do the diplomacy of collecting more, I must do the domestic of doing what I have well. The first priority of our government is abolition of poverty. And it has its own diplomatic side. The majority of it has to do with accountability in our government at home. Because we have more than enough to abolish poverty. In fact, majority of our friends, and I respect them for their friendship with Nigeria, but I know that they love us very well. But they love us particularly because of the enormous wealth. So we will welcome them to partake in the management, enjoyment, exploitation of our wealth, provided that they know that it's our own and for the benefit of our. And as I stand here, I'm the chairman of the company, WPCD, which was set up in 1938. In the first mission of Balewa to London and then all over the world, he invited the person who was then in my position, J.D. Staley, to accompany him so that we could explain to the world that we had marble and other materials, other minerals in a place called Takushara, which is now part of Abuja. So I'm the chairman of that company, but I was established in 1938. It shows that Balewa knew how to look for foreign investors. He knew how to develop the resources. But before Balewa went to London, he made sure that he planned with the minister in charge of transportation that a rail line will be built up to Kefi, so that when the investors will come, the evacuation marble from there to Kefi, back to Lagos, not be a challenge. So leaders have to have a way to prepare home. And I can tell you today that reserve will found other minerals. That mineral alone is worth not less than $30 billion in this money. So Nigeria is very wealthy. So we have no problem with that. We manage that. Second, we must manage our sovereignty well. Our sovereignty is physical. We must possess. Under international law, there's not everything is about victim, champion, and all of that. There's no finesse. If any force enters your territory and holds that territory for a reasonable length of time, they are a de facto government. Because control over land includes forced armies by force of arms. Therefore, holds that territory for a reasonable length of time, they are a de facto government. Now, because control over land includes forced armies by force of arms. Therefore, and that's a sign I'm rounding up. So now we must have full control of our land, which means we already have a strong army. We also have a well strategically planned navy. We have the East Command and the West Command of our navy. Maybe what we will do is I'm trying to introduce navy to our internal waters. That's the addition that I will do to the navy. See that in Baro, in Adenebote, either in New Busa, in Onitsha, in Buso, down the line, that will have navy in our internal waters. From dredging to some frigates, the few patrol boats, we should be able to do that. So I want the navy not to be a coastline force, be inside the country, so that we can have control of all the means of moving forces around the country. Thirdly, I'm a very good country for a strong air force. And certainly my own uncle was the first chairman of Nigeria Air Force when he was permanent secretary. And if you read all the papers, Air Force of Nigeria is the Air Force of West, Sahel, and Central. And we must restore the Air Force to that position because the Air Force was degraded because the Army was concerned that somebody flying over their head and actually take government from them from the air. So we restore the Air Force back. So now we take care of our security. But in doing that, we need to make friends. You cannot abolish poverty if the international financial institutions are playing poker with your currency. If you are under embargo and they try to stop you from using SWIFT and other premises, if they are having a hostile attitude towards you, you cannot. So our diplomacy is to make sure that the multilateral and bilateral institutions, including the Bretton Woods, understand that one, we are not going to confiscate the assets of any foreign investor in Nigeria. We are not going to deny any citizen of the foreign friendly country from participating in our economy. Three, we will not use their country for money laundering, for corruption, for any activity. Four, we will not host any terrorist organization here, we will not give them comfort, and we will not give them any support. Fifthly, we will control our population to the extent that our only desirable members of our community will need to go overseas. And we have majority of our citizens highly desirable to work. That is why I went overseas to do cases as a Nigerian lawyer. I became a lawyer experienced in international law practice. But each of the law firms that I partner with insisted that I must become a partner with them. That's the reason why I became a lawyer in New York, became lawyers in many countries. So they desire us. That is why European universities come here with their officers to recruit people. So we are desired. But we must make sure that our people don't leave this land in distress. That they only leave for what my uncle's grandfather left for God, a good place. And even now, you can find a good place in the city or anywhere in Nigeria. So what we are now saying is that once we take care of poverty in full cooperation with our government at local, state, and federal, and we have a culture of having a patriotic government in place that understand our place in the world and the challenges we face, then our diplomacy is to communicate these values to our friends internationally, to also assist international objectives that we have. For example, we share this planet, blue, black, whatever your color is, and we know that we have not contributed badly to global warming. We are not responsible for the cause of global warming. The anthropomorphic aspect of it cannot be traced to us. But we are equally responsible for the remediation. So we have very good land here in the tropics. You plant 10 million trees in between Cross River, Benue, FCT, Nasarawa. If you forest the green belt around the Savannah region of Nigeria, Bauchi, Gombe, all these places, it will help the world. If we can increase biodiversity, I'm a phytocytic. I know how important it is to the world. So look for phytocytic materials because the world is having a lot of cancer arising from phytochemicals. So we are a good place for the world to have very strong healthy dose of medicine if we invest in that. So we have roads, two international waters pass through Nigeria that if you manage very well will increase global prosperity, also help the environment. And we have the Lake Chad, which we share a substantial part of. And we have minerals all over the place, which you can use for the new technology. It's impossible for you not to recognize that we have more sunshine than those who are setting up solar panels that are happy with their country. We have more lithium than them. We have more cobalt than them. So we are using the world. So that is the message that we go to the world to talk about, not asking for it. And in terms of security, our friends have interests around us, and we recognize those. So we are friends, Francophone people, friends with Francophone people, we are friends with America. We are friends with the Turkish, the Russians, anyone who wants to come. But we, as a civilized member of society, of the international community, by rule of reciprocity, if I have not done terrible experiment in your country, I'm entitled to ask that you don't do it. If I have not trained a terrorist organization terrorizing your country in my country, I'm entitled to say don't do the same thing to me. And on a more, should I say, gentlemanly note, I will make sure that we take care of our high commissions, embassies, and consuls. Because some of them make us look like due respect or reasonable guests. When you don't pay your rent, your landlord, and you are enjoying diplomatic immunity, and they don't want to declare you personal non-grata, you are stretching the friendship. And I have studied it over time. I've discovered that sometimes it's what I call unfounded money. People in the foreign affairs, they don't understand how to communicate the emergency presidency. And people in finance, they look at foreign spending as too expensive. We have to send $2 million to Liberia. The mission there, what are they doing there? So we need to create a system by which, as the chief diplomat of Nigeria, we will ensure that every mission is well funded and all our obligations under private and international law to our landlords, those who are supplying, repairing our vehicles, and those who are trained of our diplomats, that we are on time. Then another thing I'm going to do is to ensure that on the public international law side, countries, institutions, and other agreements in which we are contributing money, that will make that contribution timeless. I know in this world we are not doing worse than America. America does not usually release its money to the United Nations. They use it as a lever to try to see whether they can affect policy. But we are not in the world to be a friendlier country than America, for example. We are more definitely. So we try our best to see that we manage these obligations very well. So on a final note, before I start to face the firing squad, I was trying to delay my own execution. That's why I'm taking a lot of time. Is that diplomacy is what we must do. The world of Nigeria today is one in which we have all these internal challenges that we must overcome. I will have the means to overcome them internally. But we must not have decapitation in our policy. One government after another must not look like a different country. So as unhappy as I am about all the obligations entered into by the Buhari APC administration, I will honor every other. So that the international community will know that Nigeria is a responsible country. Those that are now having obligations going forward will now review. Now, in terms of other tools, diplomacy. One, we must use our industries, including our bank institutions that are now in various countries in Africa. We must use our cultural tools like our Nollywood and so many of our writings to promote the image of this country. Which there's no Superman in America. I've been there for 3 years. But Hollywood is telling you that it's a Superman in America. If there's a Mr. America who will snatch you if you are falling down from 100-story building. So our people should not say in projecting our movies, and we are cheap, we are bad people, we are exorcists, and all of that. We must project our image because it's a tool for cultural interpretation. We are. So we must develop our universities as centers of exchange. There is no responsible parent who will send their children to come to a university where lecturers are outside. When I was at Ticket, which was long ago, it was after the Ice Age. I had South Africans, Zimbabwean, lots of people schooling with me. If you go to our public university today, you will not see foreigners. And if we are not careful, you will not see local students. Because the children of the elite are now going to private school, home, and abroad. So we must develop, and that was why in June, when I went to America, I met with the historical black colleges and universities. I spoke with them because I have been a friend of theirs, helped them in many ways. I said, you have to come and help us because we have very good tradition of our university. And you must send professors down. We must have jointly audited courses so that we can rapidly recover our university and ensure that our university continue to be center of God. I will have so many Muslims in this country. So diplomacy with the Arab world, very important. Not go back to those days when we were supporting each other for joining OIC. No, be responsible. Because when we joined the World Council, it was Sahab Balewa, a Muslim, and went there to lobby for us to join the World Council. And it was as a result of that that Akano India became the president of the World Council. And there are many contributions that we got in terms of charity, in terms of opportunity for the World Council of Churches. So we should not suspend that if we join the OIC or relate to the Islamic world that we are losing any opportunity. The same way, both Muslims and Christians should not worry when you see me going to Dan Shabu in Brazil, because it's also a cultural opportunity for that change. So I believe that when we put all these resources together and we know that our domestic priorities are the reasons why we are diplomacy, we will understand that we do it responsibly, we do it in measured way, we will have metrics. The idea of taking photo opportunities and go around the world and collecting stuff, that is the latter day interpretation of diplomacy. The founding fathers of this institute wanted the world to recognize that we are aware of our place in the world. Let me say something. However irresponsibly we behave, the world thinks that we are just acting mad by choice. They know we are not small. They know we are smart. They know we are superpower. But they think that we are dodging our responsibility. So we are acting crazy. So let us act in a responsible way so that they will know that we recognize our place in the world. And Nigeria was not designed by God to be a small fry. Thank you very much.
Engagement and excellence. That applause will be louder and longer. Thank you very much. You may be seated, ladies and gentlemen. If His Excellency we are not going for the office of the President, I would have imagined that he was trying to take our jobs here as a research fellow in the NRI. He went through Nigeria's foreign policy with so much ease and accuracy. Please, another round of applause. I am sure that you have excited a lot of debates and questions across the room. The panel will soon have their time with you, and I'm sure, time permitting and with the indigenous permission, members, participants here will also have their time with you. But respectfully, may I recognize the presence, physical or virtual, of some dignitaries in this event. Professor Maurice Iwu, the Adewole Foundation, Florentina Ukonga, Professor Adewole Adebayo, Ralph Bello Fadile, Ago Akomolafe, Charles Odio, His Excellency Ambassador Cyprian Hare, former Director General, Interim Director General of this institute. You are all very much appreciated and welcome. We also have Professor M.J. Balogun from Canada. Please, a round of applause for all. I know that quite a number of the members of the Association of Retired Career Ambassadors of Nigeria are also online. You are all recognized, and in a bit, I will be recognizing you in
Then meanwhile, you are most welcome and we appreciate your participation in this program. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies here present. And I think I must ask His Royal Highness, because I don't seem to be capturing that dimension anytime I recognize. Please, again, my apologies. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies here present. May I, at this point, with the kind permission of the Director General, with the kind permission of the Director General, usher in the panel now for their own role. May I respectfully request Professor Kibajo to lead the firing squad as it were. Thank you, sir. Okay, okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Professor Kibajo has kindly delegated responsibility to me, and I don't think it's likely. I am also a member of the House, actually, because I've been with the MIA for a very long time. As a journalist. Since thank you for being there. I've had a crash course, and I was doing a lot of things. I had a crash course in my US policy. Thanks to you this afternoon. We seem to need to be reminded of these things from time to time. How important it is. I don't think, I think Suleiman will agree with me. We haven't heard another presidential candidate speak on Nigeria's foreign policy as it is. So we have various topics that we're going to ask today. I don't think we have questions around in every area, and that's impressive. So I will ask to lead with the first question for this panel. For those who don't know here, is a research professor of international politics and strategic studies. He's here with NIIA. He also is the Dean of Politics at the University of the very warm and friendly professor. Most of us are, I say most of us, but most of my senior colleagues are here. So, Professor Super.
Thank you very much. Excellency, the special candidate for the what violence was what to do with political issues. Now, understanding is very good for practical understanding. We don't have time to look at very good questions. My own is about the diplomatic status. Okay. The generals talking about their right context. And people say that I don't know. And you can put them in is what the partner. I don't know how much you know about the state of the but the real issue is that we have very similar problems.
Now, that's first visited. There's no country that good. If I have an opportunity to spare a few hours, I go to the church. So whether it's the one in Canberra, in Germany times, many of the staff know me. Whether it's the one in London, High Commission, whether in one in Washington DC, and many African countries, and many friends who are ambassadors. And there's anyone who's an ambassador. That if I am told you're an ambassador, you finish your mission, I will ask you, you're a career ambassador, you principal appointee, where were you posted, what did you achieve, what are the problems there, and I try to do all of that. And I may want diplomats. Maybe if you had the opportunity, we'll send the video of even when I started this race, I went to the State Department. I went to Fort Bottom. I met many ambassadors who had handled African affairs before, people like Mr. Farm, many other people. I met as many of the US Secretary of State, common one I meet. So I like to ask these questions. So I know the state of our mission. I know the mission that we are rented apartments. I know the mission that we built those glorious days where we built. And one of the one that I enjoyed the most was one built by this about. I think if you look at that our common mission there, very happy that the project material very well. I saw the opposite side of it, where went to the one in Ghana, and I was trying to get them to meet some people because I was managing some international institutions, and I thought that I was posted in Ghana. I'm in Nigeria, let me take them to the BR mission. I will have to meet at the Putin Tulip. And I said, why are we not meeting your people? The High Commission said, well, even you cannot take anybody there. The next day I went there, was in a very terrible state of despair. And when I saw a former senator who became High Commissioner there, when I saw him in London, the first question I asked him, how did you survive? Did you stay there, Commission? So I know the state where they are. When I'm in India, I go to the High Commission. So I know the states where they are. I know when a friend of mine became or ambassador in Moscow, I was part of those who raised the fund with which we were able to repair the furniture in that place. So I know the states where they are. I talked to these diplomats, many of them left their children far away in their former post, and their wife was supposed to assist them to give it. Normally, diplomatic protocol. It's protocolar for you to have your spouse with you. But on many occasions, we can't support the principle of the spouse. So then the wife will stay behind looking at the children. I don't want to say it, but I've had some enviable but happy occasion of paying children school fees of diplomats' children when they are thrown out. So I know what is good. And I know some of these issues. I know people who are due for rotation, they're not rotated. I know when some use their money to host events, it takes like a year for the money refunded to them. I know also the problem, Ministry of Finance, the ordering of money in such a way that they send money to you in the manner is some way you cannot access the money. And so many other things. So I know and I can budget through, and I'm taking how to budget through. So I believe that if we commit 1% of our revenue in care of mission for 4 years, will not be an issue anymore. So I've seen, I'm fun. In Switzerland, I've seen the host telling me about I can do anything about how responsible we were in Switzerland. So we know we have two missions there. How the one that is our how the one for the trade. So both sides have the same problem. So I've been working on this.
Thank you. I also wanted to add that we're talking about the state of the missions. That in some countries we don't actually have missions, but we went to policy. And you're also aware of what's happening in Ghana, the dispute between the Nigerian and Kenyan traders and the Nigerian mission in Ghana that I think 2 years ago from some aspects. Those are things that you look into if you become president, of course. I would to Sulaiman Adebayo, he is a journalist at Leeds Central. Used to be my colleague in Translate, actually, as supposed to be. Sulaiman had other plans, so let him ask us.
Thank you very much. And I will look at security. I want to thank the Department for your words of thanks. And so I'm really concerned about security and the Sahel goals greater than 17, quite France to provide concrete responses to the challenges of security around Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, Sudan, and also Mauritania. And there are other ones of these of the multinational drug task force. Something of that. But bottom line is that also seeing recently the activities of one in this country and to help the effort very well. So to put all of this together, and you recall that once upon a time West Africa had one, and it was also not being to fight insurgency. So my take here is that should you be elected now as president, how do you intend to work with these countries, bearing in mind Nigeria's collaborative efforts on the national platform?
The first thing to take it as yes or no. Because doctrinally, the Nigerian military regarded the South Sahel as part of their theater. That's not you have Isa Adewole, ask any of them, you ask Secretary Ade, you ask Mushishi. So if you ask at that time, that's the attitude. That was why that you could not victimize anything that is incendiary from no attempt. Nigeria would say, why are you doing that? That's why we were interested in the Caribbean Civil War. Say, well, you guys don't know why to do that. If you are here, family making was not next door, was facing the population. Now, that doctrine was what made us form economy. To say you can't be killing each other in Nigeria who belong to trouble gets here. So that doctrinal problem is what the army has now. The doctrine now stops at the barracks. Anything that doesn't happen inside the barracks, they are not concerned. That is why even in Sambisa Forest, it's pretend like a foreign land. People are talking in terms of. And when I had my conference with the Air Force office, I made sure I talked to the fighter pilots. And I asked them the very simple question. I read the report, I was privileged to read country reports in Nigeria, so that even in the Mano region, heavy forestation, we were able to pick all these rebels in their caves and hideouts. Sambisa Forest is a shrub. It's a shrub. Why are you not able to make this? And it was very doctrinal problem. The manner in which the backwater is written. And so it's a matter which the aspect that intersects international relations, what I want to talk about here. But there are some aspects of it that is about the deployment of forces. There are some situations, even if you look at the way we set up 7th Division, if you ask Lucky Rabo, who is short defense, but it was a pioneer GOC for 7th Division. If you look at the doctrine with which 7th Division entered Maiduguri, all those areas of the Gali was operating, Hamdu, Bada, Maiduguri Road, if you see the rapid advance that they made, you see the orders that followed. There was a doctrinal clash between the GOC, who was making the rapid advance, and the headquarters. So I would have that at the defense level, defense level. But internationally, it is well understood that Nigeria being a regional power have the right to be interested in what happens ahead. Luckily for us, not from Mauritania, all of them are under the ECOWAS security, and I've attended a few of the ECOWAS security missions. Commission in ECOWAS, where all our generals meet. They used to meet even with the Chief Justice and all of that. I was part of those who, when ECOWAS became a commission from the airport that it was, to decide the judicial side from it and allow the military side to go. So we can handle that. We don't have a problem. We don't have a natural enemy around us in terms of those countries. And because they also understand that our army will protect them, our army will protect them, we only need to get the doctrine right. And the commander-in-chief, who does not follow the doctrine, is a problem. So, as a new commander-in-chief, you will see that at the doctrinal level, we get it right. So we'll be able to deal with that. But if you look at what you're talking about Rwanda, Rwanda is what we call the Great Lakes region. And in going to the Great Lakes region, you have to recognize the interest of France, asking for Belgium, European Union, they complain. They allow France to leave. The Americans are also having interest in that. So you will see some of the role being played by Rwanda, which is not making Congo happy, making two Congos happy. Even if you look at Burundi, they are totally unhappy about it. The reason is that America wants to protect its interests there. And the earlier we recognize those interests and use a regional or continental approach to protect those interests. So they won't need a client state, which they will be pumping a lot of money. If you look at the GDP of Rwanda and Egypt share the same GDP structure because of ground and defense spending. Is maybe Pakistan, the other side, Asia, is the one competing with them. So our relationship, even when we had a pushback between Obasanjo and Qatar, we did not have, Qatar did not invest, Bush did not invest, Clinton did not invest in Nigerian military. Why? Because they wanted to have a program in the Gulf of Guinea, Africa, which we have not been able to reconcile our interest and their interest in Africa. So we will not, therefore, as Nigeria, go and tackle the Great Lakes region. What I can do basically to create a continental platform by which we can show the Americans that their interest, well, some of it intersect mineral resources, not resources. Some of them intersect humanitarian concern. Some of them are proxy wars between friends who don't want to fight each other and use you as a cannon for that. So if we manage that well, I think we'll get the people.
Thank you very much. So you notice we're following various concentricism and we were asking the questions. We're beginning with Nigeria, we were going further to Africa, and we were going beyond Africa now. We're already aware of Ukraine. And I want to ask that based on the, this concept of concentricism, as well as Adede's official and constructive concentricism, what approach should Nigeria have towards the war in Ukraine? You talked about our interest. One of the first things we did, when the war broke out, was to evacuate students who were studying in Ukraine. And even though it took almost a month before they came back, eventually came back and tried to integrate into society here. It's been months now since that was going on. We've seen more action with mutual allies and so on. But, Ukraine has also been trying to garner support from Africa. So what position should Nigeria take?
First, the starting point is to comply with UN non-aggression. So at that point, we will tell them you are neither side supposed to push the issue aggressively. So we are within our right to reiterate the international doctrine of non-aggression to member states. And since both of them are in the UN, in reality, the only relationship we have with them at multilateral level is the fact that they are all members, they are both members of the UN. So the UN framework is not. Now, our role can be generalized. For example, if it's the time when we are serving as a non-permanent member of the Security Council, that is more council to play because we are now in the Security Council. And if our rightful place is given to us in the Security Council as a permanent member, people now veto the first system, then our voice will be heard. So in reality, we can't do beyond what we are doing now because one, we are not a member of the Security Council. So it's an international conflict of that dimension. So we can only talk as a member of the General Assembly. Number two, geopolitically and geostrategically, it will be any bomb will travel very far before it gets wrong. So in that situation, we are to only use good offices, try to work. Thirdly, we need to understand that there are other forces. For example, United Kingdom, European Union, and the United States. They have their own point of engagement with Ukraine and Russia. One is militarily useful to them, that's Ukraine. The other is economically useful to them, that's Russia. And if you see the way they manage it, America has not officially joined. Local Germany, closer to us, biggest bloc has not joined. So nobody will say, for example, for the good folks, but we'll just go beyond. And from our own national interest, we are balancing it. Ukraine is a friendly country for us. There's some wheat from there as a good. But Russia is important to us. Russia is important to us in terms of cannot be an enemy of such a strong country. Two, we need steel, and we have made some investment in that steel. We have what we have we have the aluminum smelter at the Economist. So those are investments we have made. So, and now, why am I raising this? If a friendly country, including the United States, says that we have to make enmity with Russia, we can legitimately tell them, no, no. Or even you are not making enmity with them. You are still dealing with them. But American oil companies are still exploring oil in Russia. So why should I try more than you who has the capacity? But we'll continue to engage, we'll not say we're not concerned, but there are also material aspects. So if there are aspects of the conflict that is escalating, that's implicating material concerns, we have a right to raise material issues. But it's not our fight, our friends.
I'll take the last question from this for now. So Lemon has a follow-up.
Thank you. Just a quick one. You touched on it briefly. Wheat and coal. It's amazing that the boy, ROE, right, at the touched down here so quickly. Should we be like the president? What are you looking to do in terms of coal, even though we're not very coal?
Okay, first, we need national security definition, includes food security. So when we talk of security, people are thinking about several includes don't be over that. No, security is not that. So we need food security, we need stability of systems, we need stability of supplies. So the war is to create an opportunity for us, one, to have wheat replacement. Because there are many of the grains that we have that have almost the same molecular properties as wheat and have the ability to feed people. So if you look at if you take a bushel of wheat, how many kilograms of energy? If you take 1.5 bushels of meat, you get the same kilogram. So we really not high that we worry too much about it. Maybe Egypt will worry more, but they eat more bread. So we can easily replace. And remember that the first thing that Bale was trying to do was what was called import substitution. If you study our first development plan, 1968 to 65, the idea was that by 65, we will have excited some industries by which the more sensitive imports will have been substituted locally. That's why we flour made fields. So, but because we didn't pursue the R&D, we were doing about IFE and Sukarnos at that time, to try to make our flour from non-imported wheat. There was a time we wanted to grow wheat, so that the climate was making it unpredictable. Because it's very sensitive grain grows. As many diseases. So what we decided was that to make our wheat from now we are even discussing cassava, all of that. So we can do that very well. But if you go to IITA, you are going to cry because what we try to do with IITA is IITA has become like another regular tourist attraction. So we will do that to have food sufficiency. Secondly, in energy sufficiency, we are okay. So first we have to Enugu or Benue down there. But if we start to work on our own now, the whole world will pile on us and say, hey, CO2 and all of that, not let it go. But we have gas, which is the bridge between clean and dirty. So we have more gas in Nigeria than the entire economy of America. So once we have gas, and not good for ship development to say that conflict is an opportunity. But in reality, conflict is an opportunity for Europe and North America to try to pivot towards another source of gas. And we are the closest in geography to that. So for us, we can actually see what others see as a problem, as an opportunity to actually retool our economy and improve our economy.
Thank you. Thank you. And I would like to throw, this question segment over, but I can see Dr. Gordon I am not there. Should I round up or can I throw it over? Okay, great. So I think we can take questions from Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Hearing the presidential candidate to speak, my ears were open. I had to believe that we talking to the Congress for the first time in the history of the being. I'm seeing candidates that start a wide variety of subjects. A presidential candidate that can talk with foreign policy establishments that are here. I'm also talking in our own I think I talk my heart. Before I come to this document, by the way, all my life I worked in. I joined in 1972, living in the University of Lagos, and since then I've been in foreign service. Not work in any other establishment, so I can defend that profession that we have. That's why in our association of the China area ambassadors of the church, of each time post national vice president, also the chairman. It's really soothing to hear that it is not when you become the Nigerian president that you have interest in investigation with the foreign policy establishment. I listen to you, the trajectory, and you were doing now all those indications of policy postures of former ministers, which is, and it shows me that we have in you a very diplomatic of the presidential candidates that will address the issue not depending on the foreign minister. And I'm delighted that this is coming you as a trailblazer in the hope that other candidates that are rushing to Chatham will still keep from what the SDP presidential candidate. I must also commend the NIA for also coming out with this. In terms of the substance, a lot of people are listening and there will be quite a lot of interventions. But I believe that NIA will be able to succeed where others have failed. I mean, people my association of retired career ambassadors, we are based in Abuja, or just chatting with the vice president and candidates, who knows my president, and my other colleagues are online. This was the subject of a debate on our platform on the need why the temporary chapter to UK of the shutdown house. Why not address the problem and not done that very successfully? Now, coming to the substance, you touched quite a lot of areas. And what was to be sounding in my mind, how is he going to do it?
Because the nexus between foreign policy and national interest, you have indicated that the national interest being the totality of the particularistic political individual interest that now comfort that national interest. That is what pushed our foreign policy from pre-independence to independence to independence. But there is something that is now missing. The economy has been a constraint to what it used to be. I was very happy that you were mentioning quite a lot of those career people that you know. Florence Fakumi, James Florence Fakumi, who was the DG in this institute, was one of the foundation members of the Association of Career Masters. And we have quite a lot of them. We have Adewole Adebayo. We have Adewole Adebayo. We have Okusudiri, who is a surviving member of the first 12 apostles. Those 12 apostles were the ones that started foreign ministry. Himself and Asiodi were surviving. Asiodi moved with himself. And you have Ambassador Kokakura, quite a lot of others. And we are protecting the profession because we believe that we are knowledgeable, we are exposed, we are not well taken care of. And I'm happy that you said one of the things we are going to mention. It's ridiculous to hear what retired career ambassadors do. But I'm not going to do. What is important to me is two questions. First, how are you going to choose your ambassador? Is it going to be 50-50 career and 50 non-career? Or is it going to be 60-40? Or is it going to be 80-40? That's their party loyalists, people that have been with you, they come in like the president, and of course, you cannot give everybody presidential appointments, and the next port of call is probably becoming your ambassador. What is going to be your percentage? Lastly, on globalization, we are now witnessing a deglobalization. Things are changing. We now have goods that are coming. China is coming up, Turkey is coming up. We have the BRICS. So, what is going to be your perception? What is going to be looking at this globalization? That rather than the world being the global village because of technology and others, COVID-19 and other things have created new dimensions. So, what is going to be your perceptions on this? But I must remark, and my last word, that I'm very much impressed that you have the audience and come 2023 that we have a president. We now have the president, the Disney book, as this was as career ambassador or career. Thank you.
My response would be, thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate it. First, when we're looking at our mission and composing the voice, we're going to follow Adedeji's guidance, where we are talking about beneficial and constructive growth. It's not a magic word of ratio. The person must be able to have consultation. And you know, one of the doctrines about I think the first doctrine before he went into concept of the freedom of consultation is very important. If you don't consult us on any issue, and that also applies to Ukraine. If Ukraine or Russia is asking us to assist them in the war, we don't have the question. Before you started the war, you don't consult us. So consultation is number one. So that we don't fall into the error when Egypt went to fight war, the 7-day war. They consult us. Due to African solidarity, we applied sanction against Israel, against all of them. We lost income, we lost money. You recall that it was Ife, an Israeli company that built the University of Ife, Western region. We're very friendly with them. You met, many of these companies came from there, but we sent everybody away because of issues. But when Egypt went to Camp David to go and sign the peace accord, it didn't consult us. So we learned that lesson that if you don't consult us before you start the wahala, we are still your friend. We are not going to pass. So to be able to do that, it means that you must have envoys that are capable of being consulted. Which means that when we are choosing our people, it is not as a political reward, and it's not an automatic promotion in the civil service, where people say, please just promote me, send me anywhere, even the Republic. I want to retire on consolidated salary. If I don't speak French, send me to Togo. I will manage. We don't want that. Both career side and the non-career side, there will be people that the NRA will screen and say, where are you sending this person to? I'll say, I'm sending it to Sweden. Say yes, it can go there. So it's on merit that we will do both sides. So if we find more meritorious ambassadors at the career line, we take them. There are many places where we can send politicians. I'm going to set up cocoa farms and all of that. They will go and manage them for me. There are other things that these people have to be effective because we have to do economic diplomacy, how to do security diplomacy, how to do material diplomacy, how to do cultural diplomacy. So people have to be capable of being useful to the country, how we send them out. So that's what we do with respect to that. Then it's issue of people organization. In fact, in scholarship nowadays, the concept of region is no longer geographical. OPEC is a region, because an economic region is a union of places where you have oil, to protect it. So now the world is such that everybody is trying to identify similar interests and consolidate themselves and become a bloc. Nobody wants to speak alone. And what Nigeria will do is to find allies whose interests align with us and ensure that we join as many blocs as possible, provided that we identify interests. I play a lot of role. I'm very friendly with Morocco, and I've had occasion to go to Morocco and do work for the Moroccan government. But when Morocco wanted to join ECOWAS, I was all over ECOWAS saying, we don't have to Morocco. I love Morocco. There's one thing that is very good place. I love their food, very friendly to me. Both the king and the government are very nice to me. However, if Morocco joins ECOWAS, we have for the first time a geo-strategic enemy inside ECOWAS. So, for that reason, stay in the market there. We can now start to trade. So, that's the approach we need to use dealing with this. The fact that Ghana joined something, Ghana is an ECOWAS member, doesn't mean it costs us. Because if there is any alliance regarding cocoa production, for example, Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana will not be on our side. Because they will say, we don't have as much oil. This is what we have. So we want to be more competitive. So we take it using the prism for national interest. And when we are already successful, we can be generous.
So we're going to open the slot now for a female, so we can balance it all. I encourage my we have one at the back. Go ahead. Excellency, let me join. My name is Dr. Motola Edison. I work here as a research fellow, and I want to join everyone to welcome you here. I listened attentively to your presentation, and I found it very informative. And I was very happy to hear you say that when you get into government, you want to control the population of Nigeria. I'm sure you know that as of last year, According to the UN, Nigeria reached about 416 million, becoming the sixth largest populated country in the world, and that population accounts for about 2.7% of the global population. And I have also noticed that successive Nigerian governments have kind of turned a blind eye to the unchecked population growth in this country. My question is, how do you intend to control Nigeria's unchecked population growth? Knowing fully well there's a very sensitive issue, considering Nigeria's religion, multi-religion, and pluralistic country. How do you intend to do that? I'd like to know the strategies you want to put in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't so much use the language of population control. I use the language of population management. Because demographic analysis is not always quantitative. So any algorithm that you have, if you want to translate the graph, you have to have the x-axis and the y-axis. So if you take only quantitative analysis and say, we were 56 million some decades ago, but now 410 million. Oh, we're in trouble. I don't think so. Thomas Malthus was wrong. As far later, when he was saying the world will collapse, it's the population. But it didn't account for the advantage we have in the world, where British and other Europeans moved to North Africa, other things. So our approach is, if you have 6 million people who have only 10% literacy, you have only 10,000 doctors. Will it be as productive as if you have 300 million people with 99% literacy? So I am interested in population management to increase the quality of the population. So Nigeria, we are okay if we have quality population. What is ailing us is 20 million children out of school. 1.3 million not being able to sustainably feed themselves, house themselves, have access to education, social welfare, and we have the resources to do that. So this is the area I want to focus on. But there are people who have a numeral approach to it, or numeric approach to it, who are just looking at it in terms of numbers. And it arose from the classical approach, military warfare, where if you look at it, during the Cold War, they used to count numbers. How many million troops the Soviet Union have? 3 million infantry. So America was saying, we this our infantry to 1 million. So the population mattered at that time. And if you look at the Vietnam War, they will used to count the Vietcong and say, what you mean? Where does it get the people from? Vietnam is not this big. I was able to get all these troops. So we're doing body count. But with warfare now, where we use drones, use other advanced, use even space warfare, population doesn't matter. So I think over time, when the scholarship is lagging behind policy, over time you'll realize that quality of population is very important. If you look at India, how they manage their population, they've been able to escape the worst. I don't think about China because China is popular. If you look at India, look at Indonesia, look at Malaysia, you will see that they try to manage their own by way, and they have all kind of religious plurality there. Indonesia is almost 99% Muslim, same to Malaysia, majority Muslim. But they've managed to see that if you are able to feed your population, you are able to educate your people, you are able to keep them in school. What's going to happen is that naturally, people who stay in school become medical doctors are not likely to have babies and just stay. So gradually, as we're increasing the population, increasing the enlightenment, but increasing the ability to make complex choices, also increasing the expectation that an educated person wants to go to the French Riviera and go and lie down. But my mother didn't know where French Riviera was. She was just raising her children. So but my sisters want to go to French Riviera and go and relax. So they won't have so much children. So this is the idea, this approach I want to use. But if you look at the approach that multilateral institutions use, and I respect that many people who speak on this field speak of programs sponsored by those people. So you have to speak the language of the donor. The language of the donor is control, control, control. But to say, for example, a professor of pharmacology who is married to DG of NIA to have 4 children. And a blind beggar also have 4 children. So every family 4 children doesn't make sense in the real world. The real world is that increase the population with their productivity. And Nigeria, we are less than 4% of our allowable productivity, even with the available structure that we have now. So I believe that I can persuade my neighbors to have less children, but I'm more interested in educating the children, making sure that just like Cuba did, remove illiteracy, remove extreme hunger, remove diseases, and all of this that make people not have many children because they don't know which one to survive. We remove other social problems, and I would say that we will be exporting. Look at a country like Philippines. Philippines makes more money from the export of sailors than we make from NNPC. So why would I not export $1 million? The Middle East, Europe, everywhere. Why would I not produce 10,000 footballers? So who is any at least $1 million Not everybody has the modest money that will never be had. They know. So now anybody who plays, so we can this is quality. But over time, the population will have.
I like the way this is coming to a family discussion because our uncles and our elder sisters are asking questions. So I have just 2 slots remaining, one for a journalist, and then we'll take one from the participants online, so that we don't leave them out. At least one person has a question from there. I have a special request to ask Moses Kanu to ask his question.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, Presidential Candidate of the SDP, His Excellency is present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, media. I stand on the existing protocol. So I specifically want to thank you so much for taking the time to come to talk to us at the Nigerian Stock International Affairs, where some other political gladiators have taken interest of going to London to go and talk to who knows whether they want to contest for the office of the Prime Minister of the Union instead of Nigerian office. But you have come to address us here in Nigeria. We are your constituents. We want to thank you so much. But in the course of representation, we touched so many issues. The truth is, we are living in a world that's a global village, and issues are so cyclical. And one thing that you think affects this side, you go to the other sector, you see that it's affecting. So we can see the social parameters that are present in a pluralistic society, just as ours. In the course of representation, I listened to you. You talked about poverty, how to eradicate poverty, and how to improve education. I've observed that somehow it seems as if you neglect a very special cluster of people, those of us that are called persons living with disability. So, no matter what you say, in today's world, whether we like it or not, you will find some of us who are studying abroad, just as in the case of what happened in Ukraine. Some of these people were asked to come back home. So, if something happens, what are the specific things that you think you can do if you become president on how to assist persons living with disability? Of course, we must thank the present government for making it possible to choose a physically challenged person as a special advisor and setting up a special commission for persons living with disability. But all these things are not enough. In the area of, thank God you're also a lawyer, in the area of enforcing disability law has continued to be a problem. And the provision of social welfare packages for those of us who find ourselves in this condition. Remember, it is not by choice. So, what are some of the plans to see that we assist those of us with this kind of condition? Thank you so much.
Thank you. First, our understanding is that almost everybody is person with disability. Just that we don't want to recognize it. And many people in this room will not be able to read unless they're wearing glasses. So that will bring empathy to all of us. Same way, your disability has been enhanced or attenuated. You should, the government should try to pay attention to people's either income or acquired disability and to see how we need to resolve. And there are 4 tools we use. First tool is the law. As a lawyer in America, one of the laws we have to enforce for ADA, American with Disability Act. So it's every aspect of your life. You have a corporation, you must have people with disability there. If you are setting up a school, the school must give access to people with disability. Before building a program, if you don't have a ramp, all those things, they will not let you have the building. So that's number 1. Number 2 is inclusion. Inclusion, and we consider SDP, we have in our constitution and our executive at every level, local government, state, ward, state, federal. You must have in your executive people with disability. It's a requirement, otherwise that executive in SDP not considered properly constituted. The same thing, I'm not saying people with disability, same will have for women, same will have for youth. Now, so the third, so we have that inclusion. The third is investment. We must make investment. It doesn't matter how you, I've seen politicians taking pictures with disability. But if you don't invest in brain, if you go to a facility school of the life, they make more contribution to the literacy of those who are visually impaired, more than the politician giving a talk. If you go to other institutions that have been set up, so the idea is to make more investment along that line. A gentleman, Dr. Akeli, who is special advisor, yes, he's a very good friend of mine. But I'll just mention my name, will tell you. His office is a federal secretariat, the 2nd floor. I should go there and have discussion with him. So it's just he has been appointed nominally. When we appoint our own, that person will have power. We will not be formally just announced and left there. We'll make sure that he has ability to access the treasury and to make major contribution. And then thirdly, this infrastructure. Infrastructure is the key. You must have good roads, good amenities, access to internet. If you are with a disability, you do better. It's not a, you'll not be happy about it, but you do better in a country which economy is better, where they can invest in some of the aspects that are reversible. I had a friend of mine who was going blind recent, and he went to the hospital in Kano, and they said, well, you're not really going blind. So if we work on that, invest in those things, people with disability will reduce in number, and then there will be ability in disability. If you are able, you look at the national icon, global icon, like people achieving, as much as achieving loves Nigeria. When you have that accident, it will not function here. So you have to go overseas and stay there. But in terms of productivity, nobody is able. Otherwise, Steve Hawking will not be one of the greatest physicists in the world. So it is well used. Geography has a role to play, and culture has a role to play. And in Nigeria, we do our best to see that if Steve Hawking was alive, he would want to be in Nigeria, not Britain. In terms of support.
Thank you very much, and thank you most for that question. We'll take our final question today. I apologize for everyone who has a question that has not been able to ask. I believe that the SCP presidential candidate is available even after now for questions. It's open to them. But you will have the time now. Yes. The way you become president is not able. But you can also reach him via his social media accounts, which I'm sure that his team will make available to everyone. So let's take the final question now from our participants online. We have a individual who has a question, or do we just throw it open? Okay, okay, I can recognize Professor Bola Akitari when I know that he must have a question. Prof, please ask your question. You need to unmute your mic, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. You see, the first point to underscore is the fact and the need to promote the management of Nigerian Institute of International Affairs by letting people know that certainly the institute is not a sleeping institution. Yes, I from that the airline can only have to complete a work that is back. So, on behalf of the all of the children, so, agree to the second point to also from the Thank you very much.
Adewole Adebayo is a former Vice General of Nigeria. It sounds like he's giving us a bit of time. I think my work here is done. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the questions. My recommendation for this group is actually coming and editor and solution on back to you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So much has been said. At this point, I'd like to call Dr. Rita Agu to deliver the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I crave your indulgence to stamp on the existing protocol. On behalf of the Governing Council, the Director General, and the management of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Your Excellency, Prince Adewole Adebayo, the presidential candidate of SDP. Initially, when you started, you were going to face the firing squad, you were face the parents, but you have survived the firing. I would also like to thank His Excellency Engineer Buhari, who is the vice presidential candidate of SDP. Your Royal Highness Alafi Ademola Ofishiri, we appreciate you. May God continue. I would also like to thank Ambassador Olusegun Akinsoye, who is one of the strong pillars of Africa. Thank you so much for always being there with us. I also want to thank Ambassador Shehu Odegbami, our sports diplomacy ambassador. I will be failing in my duty if I fail to recognize the panelists. They did so well, Professor Femi Otubanjo, Mr. Marachi Ubani, and Mr. Suleiman. They did so well. I would also like to thank the directors of NIA, Mr. Sunday Ada, Dr. Mrs. Beauty Dirisu, and Associate Professor FM. FM, I know you lost your dad last week, but we appreciate your coming here. May your dad so rest. I also want to appreciate all the staff of NIA and our legal advisor that is here. And I will not forget my colleagues, the research field. They are all here. The learned sales, lawyers, and members of the Nigerian Bar Association, where I come from. I thank you all for being here. I would also like to thank members of the armed forces, the media, for honoring our invitation. I would also like to thank each one and all of you for coming here. And I would like to thank our online participants. Thank you once more, and may God lead you back to your home safely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agu. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, His Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, dear friends, we have had so much from Prince Adewole Adebayo Esquire, the SDP presidential candidate in the forthcoming general election. I think as the curtain drop on this event, ladies and gentlemen, Let me leave the last words to one gentleman, Balogun, online. He says, and I quote, while the candidates of the mainstream political parties headed to Chatham House to talk to Nigerians, this candidate has demonstrated his faith in Nigerians and Nigerian institutions. I salute you. Thank you very much. We pray and wish you all the best. We want to inform you that the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the patron of this institute. Should it please Nigerians to take you to Adewole, our relationships and ensure darkness will continue beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, please, the uprising for the anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The honor of the geography is just outside this door. Thank you very much. My priest. Man, you say no leg will help me career. See, Josh, Musa sin career ba? Like me to it should not be.
these guys.
Oh, sorry. Josh, make that. No, there is no way now. If the one's not now, you'll be there. I think let me with my bag again. That's I got it. Very nice. Mike didn't carry it. Carry the mic. Josh! Josh, Let's move back a bit. You will have your time. You will have your time. Sonny, you will have your time. Oh, they didn't go. You have your time. Don't worry.
Bros, Bros, hello. Everybody, may I just come in, May I just come in. I need, see, everybody, that side, I need the left side, I need space. Bros, abeg. Na 50 mm, I need space. Come on. Bros. Sorry, my bros. Bros, madam.
Even you must do your camera. Shoot your camera.
Bros.
I like men. All right. They are dead.
Bros, stay my shot. I just 3 minutes. I need to call this man for now. Without I don't call him, I don't go answer.
Yes. Yes, I don't know. Where you keep your own? For front of a girl, waiting your work. Come on, hold this thing. You also land the face and they look up white.
Look at that. That will be the start match. You don't know.
Hey, bros.
Now I tell you, the man is
George, George.
Hey, Joshua.
This side.
All right.
Everybody, what's up?
I don't go back. Go back. I don't end up. I put my foot.